All right, quick pause, because if you've been telling yourself that you're going to figure out AI when things slow down in your business, you need to hear this. Things are not slowing down. And if you felt that low key pressure like you're falling behind, it's not because you're not capable. It's because you're super busy running your real design business and you don't have time to become the tech person that you think it requires to keep up. So here's the good news. You don't have to understand everything AI can do. You just need a clear starting point, one that begins at the very beginning and walks you through step by step in a way that makes sense for interior designers. And that is exactly why I created the AI ChatGPT Made Simple and the Claude Made Simple guides. These are practical, no overwhelm guides designed for interior designers who want to start using AI confidently and without getting lost in jargon or random tips that we all get through social media. And when I say from the beginning, I really mean it. We start with the basics like words, chat, the GPTs, chatbots, LLMs. What do these actually mean? So you can feel grounded instead of confused. Then we walk you through step by step how to create your own role-based AI assistants for your business so you can build the support that you wished you've had for decades. Think a client communication assistant, a studio manager, a marketing coordinator, a project support helper, the roles you need most. And to make it easy, I've included plug and play prompts, simple checklists, and I didn't even know I needed that, assistance for the things that eat up your time each and every week. So here's what happens when you have a plan like this. It gets so easy, you'll honestly wish you had done it sooner. I'll have one guide for ChatGPT and one guide for Claude. So you can start today with whichever tool you feel more comfortable with. And once you're comfortable, there's also a part 2 to the guide that shows you how to go deeper so you can unlock real time savings, real efficiencies, and business changing workflows that make you wonder how you ever ran your design studio without it. And guess what? Each guide is only $27. That's it. And I'll say it plainly. It will pay for itself within the first week you start implementing AI in your business. It'll pay for itself in the first hour of you using AI in your business. So if you're done feeling behind and you're ready for clear, designer-friendly starting line, grab AI Made Simple for ChatGPT or Claude Made Simple and start building your AI team. The link will be in the show notes. Don't bookmark it and forget it. Start now. Get your time back. All right, back to the episode. Welcome to the Business of Beautiful Spaces, a podcast that's specifically for interior designers and decorators. This is the podcast for designers and decorators who love creating beautiful spaces, but also know that building a profitable business is what makes it all sustainable. Hi, I'm Laura Thornton, and after nearly 30 years in the interior design industry and building a 7-figure design firm, I know firsthand how lonely it can feel running your own business. Making big decisions without a boardroom, without a business partner, or another executive team member to walk things through. That's exactly why this podcast exists. Think of me as your interior design bestie, the place you come for honest conversations, real action items, and a clear to-do list that you can apply today to move the needle forward and improve your bottom line. And if you can't get the answers you're looking for here, one-on-one mentorship with me is always available because no designer and decorator should have to figure this out alone. My goal with every episode is simple: to help you build a more profitable, confident design business and propel you into sustainable, successful future. So let's dive in. Welcome back to the Business of Beautiful Spaces. I just want to take a quick moment to remind you that for a limited time, there is the Welcome Guide. It is on the website under Designer Resources. It's a free download for you to be able to use as a template to build your own, or if you would rather, you can find it in the show notes. But hurry up and grab it quick because we are making room for something new and it's not going to be there for much longer, but it's a great tool if you don't have a welcome guide in your business currently and you want to start having something that you can email out to your clients as an intro to your business and get to know you. It's a great tool that you can have at your fingertips to make it faster for you to start having one. Okay, so today we're talking about the most celebrated number in most businesses anyway, revenue. You hear it everywhere. I built a 6-figure business. I had a $500,000 year. She crossed the 7-figure mark. Those milestones certainly sound exciting, and revenue does tell you something, how much money the business generated through sales before a single expense came out. But here's the thing. You should never judge a room by its square footage alone. A large room can be cold, awkward, and unlivable. A smaller room can be the best place in the house. Revenue is the square footage. It tells you the size and nothing about whether it works. So revenue doesn't tell you how much money remained. It doesn't tell you whether the owner has been paid, whether the projects were profitable, or whether there's enough cash in the bank to cover payroll and taxes. Let me give you an example. We'll come back to it all episode. A design firm generates $500,000 in annual revenue. It produces $30,000 in profit. That is a 6% margin. So from the outside, the company looks super successful. The owner is busy. They're managing a team, carrying real responsibility, but the financial return is $30,000. We have to ask whether the business model is actually working. So revenue matters. It just doesn't tell the whole story. So today I'm sharing 8 financial numbers that deserve your attention because together they tell you whether your business is profitable, stable, or capable of supporting your future. So let's put revenue in its proper place. Revenue tells you the size of the business activity. It helps you measure growth. It helps you plan for capacity. It sees how much the company is selling. But it's only the top line of the story. And the interior design, the top line, is especially deceptive. And here's why. Enormous amounts of money move through our firms. And it's money that never belonged to the firm. The client pays you $150,000 for a project. Wonderful. But much of that money is already spoken for. Vendors, contractors, freight, installers, taxes, overhead. The money flowing through your bank account is not the money, unfortunately, that we get to keep. So think of yourself as a general contractor of that money, and it passes through your hands on the way to somebody else. That is also why comparing revenue between design firms is nearly meaningless. So one firm runs huge product volume through the books. The other earns mostly design fees. One carries a big team and a beautiful studio. The other runs lean from a home office. Two firms can report identical revenue, but have a completely different financial life. So the question is never how much did we sell? The question is, what did the business keep? What did it cost us to produce that result? Okay, so gross profit is what remains after you subtract all the direct costs of delivering that work. Your accountant will help you classify exactly what counts. But in a design business, think of product costs and project specific labor or outside services. So simple example, project brings in 100,000 in revenue. The direct cost of delivering that, the furniture, the freight, the trades, comes to 65,000. Your gross profit is what's left over, 35,000. Now that 35,000 is not celebration money. It still has a job to do. It has to help cover salaries in the office, if you have rent, software, insurance, marketing, your own pay, and your profit. The gross profit is the money that funds everything else. So the takeaway to remember is a large project is not automatically a profitable project. A project can generate impressive sales, but leave almost nothing behind. Gross profit tells you whether your pricing and your markups are creating enough room to actually run a business. Okay, another one you need to know. Gross margin. It's the same idea expressed as a percentage. So if 100,000 in revenue leaves 35,000 after direct costs are removed, your gross margin is 35%. Why bother with a percentage? Well, for the same reason that you compare fabric by pricing per meter instead of per bolt. The percentage lets you compare things of different sizes but fairly. So a 150,000 project might produce more gross profit dollars than a $50,000 project, but the smaller one might have had a healthier margin. So you need to know both. Dollars pay the bills, percentage reveals the pattern. And here's the pattern to watch for. If revenue is rising while gross margin is falling, you are doing more work for less relative return. The business is getting busier and weaker all at the same time. That is exactly the kind of growth you don't want. And revenue alone will never show that to you. Okay, so net profit is what remains after all the business expenses come out. That is where the truth lives. It's a beautiful place. Back to our example, a $500,000 revenue firm, 30,000 in net profit. That's 6% net profit margin, which means every dollar that came in, the business kept 6 cents. Say that out loud, 6 cents on the dollar. Now, the impressive $500,000 a year sounds a little different, doesn't it? The next question is whether 6 cents is an appropriate return for the risk, the responsibility, and the workload that you have been carrying. So here's the real trap net profit. Oh my gosh, let me try that one again. Here is what the trap net profit exposes. The company can grow its revenue while shrinking its profit. It happens whenever the cost grows faster than the sales, and the team expands too quickly and the pricing stayed flat where expenses climbed. So projects keep requiring extra unpaid work, a new studio or a new software arrived before the revenue was there to support it. So revenue growth can hide these problems for a surprisingly long time. Net profit exposes them, which is why you can review it monthly and should be reviewing it monthly. Don't review it yearly in December when it is too late to change anything. Okay. We've talked about this before on this show, and it belongs on this list. How much is the business paying you? Because it's a sneaky one. The business can report a healthy profit while the owner is barely getting paid for the work she performs. So on paper, the company looks strong. In reality, the profit is being subsidized by free labor. And keeping these two ideas separate, your compensation pays you for the roles that you perform: the principal designer, the salesperson, the project manager, the CEO. Profit is the return on owning the business and carrying all that risk. Your accountant will handle the tax treatment, but from the planning perspective, your pay must be visible in the numbers. And here's the question that cuts through all of this, everything. Would the business still be profitable if they had to pay someone else to do everything you do currently? And if the honest answer is no, then the business isn't as healthy as it looks. This is a hard one for a lot of us, including myself. Your company should not need your unpaid labor to appear successful. Let's face it, running your own interior design business can feel overwhelming. But guess what? You don't have to do it alone. I am so excited to introduce a brand new way to get the support you need. One-on-one mentorship with me, Laura Thornton, your interior design bestie. In just one focused hour, we'll dive into whatever you need most, whether that's pricing strategies, client management, presentations, attracting clients, building up a repeat business, or just getting out of the hamster wheel. You'll get clarity, strategy, and expert advice based on my 28 years of running a thriving business and over the last decade, a 7-figure design firm. This is your chance to get real answers to the questions you've been dying to ask from someone who's actually been there and is currently still walking the walk. Book your session as you need it. There are no strings attached. You'll walk away with personalized, actionable advice that you can implement right away. One-on-one, 1-hour sessions as you need it. Head to the website or click the link in the show notes to book your mentorship session, and let's build a beautiful, profitable business that you've been dreaming of together. Now, for the distinction that confuses most business owners than any other, profit and cash are not the same thing. A business can be genuinely profitable on paper and still be unable to pay its bills this month. How? Timing. You've invoiced that client, they haven't paid yet. The project is profitable, but the vendor deposits and the payroll are due before the next payment lands. So here, there is money, it's in the account, but it's already been committed to orders and taxes. So think of it like a project schedule. Everything can be ordered, approved, and paid for on paper, but if the sofa arrives 6 weeks after the install date, you still have a problem. Profit tells you whether the year worked. Cash flow tells you whether Friday works. So cash flow answers a very practical question. Can we make payroll? Can we cover vendor deposits due this month? Are taxes set aside? Can I pay myself on schedule? What happens if a client payment is 2 weeks late? A profitable firm can absolutely hit cash crisis when payment schedules are poorly structured. So watch cash throughout the month, not just revenue at the end of the year, and make sure your payment structure never allows you to have a problem with cash flow. Okay, cash reserves. Alongside cash flow, know your reserve. The money the business holds deliberately for stability. A lot of people do not have this. This is a goal. Everyone should have this as a goal, that you would have money in the bank for when you have less months that are not profitable, that everyone gets paid and you're not worried. A reserve is your shock absorber. It gives the business room to handle slower seasons delayed projects, delayed shipment, temporary dip in the pipeline. Without one, every surprise becomes an emergency. A project delay threatens payroll. A late client payment threatens your personal income. A vendor dispute becomes a crisis instead of an inconvenience, or you're starting to pull out your personal credit card to pay for things. How big should your reserve be? That really depends on your company size and the structure. So set the target with your financial professional at the point where it sets it intentionally, meaning how many months do you think you can go or you'd be comfortable with, where if you didn't have an income, you could still maintain your salary, if you have a studio. A lot of experts will say 6 months, but obviously that depends on the size of your business. So again, some of that money will already have a job, but your reserves should be identified, protected, and planned. And here's what reserves actually really buy you: better decisions, less worry. You stop accepting unprofitable projects because you desperately need the money. You respond to problems thoroughly and thoughtfully instead of reacting out of pure panic. Cash creates options. Panic creates discounts. The other thing is, once you start having cash in your bank account, you can do things very differently. You can start building wealth in different ways because the company actually has money in it. That's a whole other episode. Number 7, let's talk about project and service profitability. So your financial statement will tell you how the company performed. The project profitability is telling you why. You need to know which projects, which services are actually making you money and which ones are consuming time without appropriate return. And be careful here because our industry has a beautiful way of disguising unprofitable work. A project can feel like a triumph. It looks beautiful in photos. The client is thrilled. The photos are stunning. Everybody's super proud. And the numbers still tell you lost money. You ended up buying some of the items that you put in to your client's home. So ask the unglamorous questions. Did the project stay within the hours that you had estimated? Did you charge for the revisions? Any of the communications that went along with that? And the management that is actually required. Did product sales deliver the margins that you had expected? How much time did the team consume? And where the costs that were never made it into the fee. So review enough projects and patterns will emerge. Your smallest projects maybe they made you as much money as a large one. Maybe the administration is your biggest bottleneck. A service might not be profitable when the scope is tightly controlled. So procurement might be producing strong sales and weak margins because freight damages the team time to get those deficiencies that were never priced into your scope of work. And one type of project may consistently deliver healthier profits and happier clients. And all of this information, all of this data and analytics that you're going to get, this information should drive your marketing. It should drive your pricing, your minimum project size, your sales strategy. Don't keep offering a service just because it's always been on the menu, or it can lead to something bigger. The numbers may tell you it needs to be repriced, redesigned, or retired. Okay, finally, you need to know what it costs to keep the lights on. Your expenses, your operating expenses. So overhead is everything that supports the business without belonging to one specific project. Rent, insurance, software, bookkeeping, marketing, professional fees, portions of your payroll. The list goes on. Like every seat you have for or Canva, your software. We all know the bills are big. But here is the tricky part. Every individual expense usually looks reasonable. The problem is never that one line item. The problem is the total structure becomes too heavy for the gross profit to be carrying it. Like every year in January, I look and make sure everything is still what I think it is. I have a list going of all the software. Last year, I was livid with myself because AI was coming. I must have had 5 or 6 different subscriptions to AI. And then I realized I had 2 going for ChatGPT. I don't know how, don't know when it happened. I don't know if I hit a button. And now all of a sudden I was paying for 2 and I didn't notice for 3 months. Like that's annoying. And I check my bills every single month. Even though I have an accountant, I am still someone who wants to cross-reference everything. And because it was on 2 different Visa cards, I missed it. So anyway, long story short, this is why you do these things. But also, did I really need the 5? So I've narrowed it down to 2. And each one has its purpose, don't get me wrong, but I definitely didn't need 5. So uh, as a firm grows, expenses grow, and they grow quickly. Another hire, another studio, another software, more marketing. They all are great decisions at the time, but a company needs enough gross profit to support all of these things. And it has to be checked and it cannot be assumed. So you have to review your expenses as part of your regular financial rhythm, whether that is monthly, quarterly. Don't leave it to the year. A year is a long bleed if you find something that you didn't want to be paying for, not just when the account feels tight. Ask 3 questions. Is it necessary? Is it producing value? And can our current revenue and profit support it? And one caution, cutting expenses is not always the answer. Sometimes the real answer is better pricing, stronger sales, or healthier project mix, but you can't make that call until you know where your money is going. Okay, so let's come back to our one example one last time. $500,000 in revenue, 30,000 in profit. The revenue sounds impressive at a networking event, but now you know the questions that matter. Is the owner paid properly? Or the taxes set aside, because you still have to pay taxes on that amount. Is there a reserve? Were the projects themselves profitable? Is that 30,000 actually available, or is it already needed to pay for something else? This is why I don't want you measuring success by revenue alone. You need a dashboard, not a single dial. Sales, margins, expenses, cash, owner's pay, profit, all viewed together, not single numbers. They don't tell a story. The insight lives in how they relate. Do not compare revenue without comparing the business model. This one affects your confidence. It's easy to hear another designer mention her 7-figure firm and instantly feel behind, but you're comparing your full picture to someone else's headline. You don't know how much of that is revenue, how much of that revenue that she's claiming is just product passing through her business. You don't know her team size. You don't know her studio costs. You don't know what she pays herself, her margins, her debt, her stress that keeps taking to keep running this business. And this isn't about judging anyone's business. It's about recognizing that a revenue number without context is decoration, not information. A $350,000 firm with strong margins, consistent owner pay, healthy reserves, and a manageable workload can financially be stronger than a $750,000 firm running on thin profit. Build the business that supports you, supports your goals, supports your life. Don't chase someone else's top line without knowing what is hiding behind it. So the best thing you can do for your business is start getting a regular financial review. Your numbers shouldn't be something that you visit once a year with your accountant. Usually we don't even want to have that call, but by then you're already reading history. Build a rhythm, at least monthly. Review your revenue, your gross profit, your gross margin, your operating expenses, your owner compensation, your net profit, your cash position, and review your project profitability where projects are running, not after they close. Even though that's still great if you haven't done it before, but while you're pricing out a project, run these numbers. If it's not in the right price point of profit, then make the things that you're picking work so that you are. Check outstanding invoices and any upcoming obligations that you have. Compare your actual performance against the plan that you're setting up for the next year. And don't just collect the numbers, actually use them. Each points to a very different fix. So gross margin declining, investigate pricing and direct costs. Revenue growing, but profit flat, we need to look at overhead and project efficiency. If profit's strong but cash is tight, you need to examine your payment structure, your payment timing, your receivables. Business cannot pay you consistently, then something in your pricing, your volume, your margins, or your expenses needs to change. The numbers aren't a report card, they really are a map, and they should always point you in the next direction and the next action. So what is your next action? What do you do with all this? So this week, pull all your most recent profit and loss statements. Sit down with your bookkeeper or even yourself first or your accountant. Don't stop at revenue. Find your gross profit, your gross margin, your operating expenses, your owner's compensation, your net profit, and your net margin. Then look at the cash. I know it's awful. Trust me. I know. I've been there. I remember. How much is truly available to you? How much of that is yours? How much is already committed? And whether taxes are set aside? And whether the real reserve actually exists. Finally, pick one recent completed project and work out whether it produced the profit that you had expected. Just one. That single exercise of one project will teach most designers and decorators more than a year of glancing at revenue. You won't have every answer immediately, and that's fine. The goal is to start asking better questions. Financial confidence doesn't come from avoiding the numbers. It comes from understanding them. And once you do, the confidence that you are going to gain is colossal. And if you'd rather not do this work alone, that's exactly what you have networks for, an accountant for, other designers, mentors. There's things like that exist. I also do those things as well. These are things that can be taught, and they're things that can be in your toolbox to make you more powerful leader. Okay, revenue, of course, matters, but it is not the number that matters most. A big top line creates visibility, opportunity, momentum, but without healthy margins, consistent owners pay, strong cash flow, controlled expenses, and a real profit, revenue is a little more than an impressive headline. So any successful business is not one that sells the most. Of course not. It's one that keeps enough of what it sells to pay its owner and its support team and meets all of its obligations, and hopefully invest in the future, because that's the goal. Once you become profitable, is then you take the next step and you learn how to take that money to what makes more money for you, and it starts making that money while you're sleeping. And that is going to produce a healthy return. And this is exactly the work that we do in the Profit Academy. If you have any interest in signing up on that wait list to learn more about it, it's going to be in September, but get on that wait list. And when it does launch, if you are on the wait list and you are someone that listens to the podcast, there is a discount for you. So make sure you're paying attention for that as well. Before you go, a completely free way to support this show is to leave us a rating on Apple or Spotify or anywhere you listen to the show. Tell us what you love or share your financial topic that you'd love for us to explore next. Your review helps other designers find the Business of Beautiful Spaces podcast for interior designers, and it also allows us to keep having practical, honest conversations about building profitable design firms. Thank you for spending time with me. Keep creating beautiful spaces, keep building better businesses. And remember, revenue gets the attention, but profit and cash and financial health is what building a company that lasts looks like. So I'll see you next week on the Business of Beautiful Spaces. Have a great week.